some sourdough maintenance. Let's have a chat about it while we do it. So I have 2 sourdough starters. They are on day 27 and 13. I jumped into this with no research, which is completely not how I normally do anything in life. I usually research things to the end of the earth before I commit, and I did not. That's okay, we're learning as we go. So we started Maggie 27 days ago with Cindy Hoffer. She was doing a little follow along class type of situation on her page. We just did half cups. Discard half, add half a cup of water, half a cup of flour, and be done. Didn't work. But I don't know, I'm not saying her recipe doesn't work. It worked for her, but she lives in Texas and I live in Northwest Indiana where it's cold. It was 20 degrees this time last week. So it's chilly and I keep my house chilly. So I think the temperature has been a large part of why we haven't been finding success. And I think we have remedied that. So I was keeping Maggie on top of the fridge. That wasn't warm enough. I started Amelia. We have Amelia here as well. I started putting them in the microwave with the light on. That was a little bit better, but still not quite warm enough, I don't think. So just a few days ago, we moved them to the oven with the light on, and I think that's the right environment. So now I'm thinking we might have a problem with the recipe. A lot of sourdough bakers have been popping up on my For You page in the last couple of days, talking about recipes and ratios and all of that. They say they saw somebody was like, I don't know why. Somebody decided the ratio was 1-1-1, and now everybody does 1-1-1, and then they don't understand why they have problems with their sourdough. They say that 1-1-1 is starving your sourdough. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that's basically what I'm doing. For Amelia, I'm definitely doing a 1-1-1 recipe because that's the recipe I found and was following. Maggie is about 1-1-1 with vibes. So several people, multiple people popped up on my For You page saying that your ratio should be somewhere between 1-3, 1-3-3, or 1-5-5. So I think we're going to change our recipe a little bit today. We're going to feed them more because I think they're starving. They smell great. They have lots of bubbles. They're growing a little bit, not enough. So we're going to increase how much we're feeding them. See if that can break us through this so that we can actually make some bread. We're going to move them to fresh jars today. I have these canisters. I had them in these to begin with, or had Maggie in this to begin with. I felt like it was sealing too tight. I took the gasket out. So now that's just sitting on there. That's not tight at all. That should be good. I've been covering them with a towel and a lot of people have a problem with that. Anyway, so Maggie, we're still going to do in cups. Amelia, we're still going to do in grams, just to try to keep the difference in them. We're still experimenting between the two. So we're going to take Maggie down to 1/8 of a cup of starter. We're going to mix her up and we're just keeping 1/8 of a cup. And then we're going to add a half a cup of unbleached flour and half a cup of warm tap water. So that's a 1-4-4 ratio. That's what we're doing. I've decided 1-4-4 is what we're doing. And then Amelia, we're going to do 10 grams. It doesn't feel like enough. We're going to do 10 grams for Amelia. Maybe 20? I don't know, but we're going to do 1-4-4. So we'll do her in grams. I'll let you know what I decide between 10, 15, 20. I don't know. But we're going to do 1-4-4. So I'm going to mix them up. They look great this morning. Lots of bubbles. Maybe like a half rise, not a full rise. Of course, it has been like 15 hours since I fed them. They're thin though. They're definitely thin. And I've been saying that. They keep coming out thin. They were coming out really liquid. Maggie was really liquidy for a while. She's not liquidy anymore, but that was because I was only discarding half and then feeding half a cup. So I was feeding less than 1-1-1. So we've fixed that. So I'm going to move them into their new jars and get them all mixed up and measured and go from there. We're back. So I actually mixed them in deli containers. I wanted to make sure that we were starting off with the right ratios, getting them measured correctly, and then moving them into these jars for these jars to be completely clean, no residue. We've got Maggie. We've got Amelia. Maggie is a smidge bigger. Maggie's also a little bit wetter, like thinner. She's not thin by any means, but Amelia's thick. So I'm going to put them in the oven without the oven on, with the light on, with the door cracked, and I'm going to check on them in a couple of hours. Now it's Sunday, so it's meal prep day, which means I need to use the oven. So they're gonna have to be out of the oven for a while. Figure it out. We'll put them back in the microwave for a while. Let's see how it goes with heavier feeds. All right, I'll see you guys in a little while.